I'm Max Rich, and I'm here to teach you a little bit about the blues guitar today. Specifically, techniques, certain licks, styles, and how to incorporate theory or thinking about theory when you're playing guitar. I suppose I'll start with a little bit of what I was doing. I was kind of playing a little bit with a song called Pride and Joy, Stevie Ray Vaughan song. If you don't know Stevie Ray Vaughan, you have to check him out. He's one of the all-time greatest blues guitarists. The song has kind of like what I like to call a boom chuck kind of a feel, where you're playing a low note or a chord, in this case a low E power chord, and at the same time, or right immediately afterwards, you pluck the high strings to form that E7 chord. And there's two ways to go about it, really. You can do everything with your pick, or do kind of a mixture of pick and fingers. It's called chicken picking or hybrid picking. I actually like to do the latter. I like to do hybrid picking a lot. And I'll go ahead and start with that. It's when you pluck with your pick and you get the upper notes with your fingers. These two fingers, or these three. If you want to use your pinky, you can do that too. In this case, I'll do it slowly at first. And so on and so forth. Now, chicken picking is like a really useful thing, especially in the blues. A lot of old school blues players used to play exclusively with their fingers. Some played with thumb picks, and some used flat picks, but mostly they used the combination of their fingers and a pick. And the reason is you can get notes far apart, 2 or 3 strings apart from each other, if you start using your fingers. For example, if I'm playing over let's say an A7 chord over the 4 chord, and I want to do a pentatonic lick, you know, a lot of players will kind of, you know, stick to adjacent strings. What I like to do sometimes is jump strings, so I might go something like that, and it gives a lot larger leaps to your phrasing. And it can be a little more conducive to what a piano player might do, jumping with their right hand, or their left hand, depending. But by doing that, for example, let me show you what I just did there. I played, so I'm playing C on the 5th fret, D on the 7th, D sharp, which is the blue note in our pentatonic scale, and then I'm getting A, my root note with my finger up top, and then just going back down those 3 notes. So it sounds kind of like this. And then if you want to end on an A on the 4th string there, just as well. Another thing that's really useful with chicken picking is the ending of a blues song. You've probably heard this ending a bunch of times. Very standard sound, very standard blues sound, and that comes from playing, if we're once again in the key of E, we're going to play B here on the 4th fret, 3rd string, G sharp on the 1st string, same fret, 4th fret, and we're going to play pick, finger, pick. And you can, once again, you can use your M finger, or your middle finger, your ring finger, or your pinky, whichever's comfortable for you. And then you basically slide that shape down until you get to basically the top half of an E major chord, which is G sharp on the 1st fret, open string, open string. And if you do that correctly, it should sound like this. And you can carry on. You can also do that on other strings. It doesn't have to be exclusively there. And that's a really again a really useful thing if you can develop your hybrid picking, it helps in an unlimited number of ways. Chordal playing. And what I did there, I was playing a bass note with my pick and grabbing two upper notes with my two fingers. And you go ahead and experiment with that, and I think it'll lead you to some pretty cool music. One other technique I'd like to talk about is alternate picking, and it's something that I think goes overlooked by a lot of players, the importance of it. Especially blues players, a lot of classic blues players played a lot using down picks. And when you play exclusively using down picks, or mostly down picks, you begin to get a certain phrasing. But if you'd like to expand your playing a little bit, playing with alternate picking can give you more options, basically, when you're soloing. For example, if I'm going to play something like some sort of lick like that, a pentatonic lick, I like to always use alternate picking and some exercises that can get your alternate picking up to speed, because let's face it, a lot of guitar players are hungry for speed, which is understandable. So if you want some sort of fast and clean alternate picking sound, a great exercise to work on is if you take, let's say, a G major scale, and you put 3 notes per string, you end up getting this. You get G, A, B. And if you play that alternate picking very slowly with a metronome, and gradually increase your speed as you go, you'll notice yourself being able to control the guitar a bit more, control your picking hand more. And one thing with alternate picking that's very important, I think it also goes overlooked by a lot of people, is the angle at which the pick attacks the string. Because when you attack the string, you don't want to attack with a completely flat pick like this, because when you push through, it gives a lot of resistance. You want it to slide through as easily as possible so that you can obviously play fast and a little more accurately. And the best way I found to do that is to hold the pick at some sort of a downward angle, about a 45-degree angle or something close to that. And that gives you not quite a brushing sound when you play through the low strings. You can get a brushing sound if that's what you're going for, but you can also just slide right through, and that makes it a lot easier to go down and up alternately. So give that one a shot, and I think over time, if you do it slowly and cleanly, you're going to find yourself building up to greater and greater speeds. One last little thing I'd like to talk about is utilizing your pentatonic box in a way maybe you hadn't thought of before. Once again, let's go back to the 4 chord now over our A. You can play your A minor pentatonic scale to solo over that, you know. However you want to do that. Another sound that you can get is using the same shape, but if you shift down 3 frets, so that you're playing now a pentatonic scale starting on F sharp, and your pinky is now on A, which is the root of the chord we're playing over. If you play this, it gives you much more of a, I guess I want to say a major feel as compared to a minor feel, as compared to this happier sounding. Used a lot in country blues, and Stevie Ray Vaughan used this kind of stuff a lot. He would solo in the relative major, the pentatonic of the relative major, and what that kind of gives you is much happier sound as opposed to maybe not necessarily happier, just different. In any case, go through playing some pentatonic licks that you might already know in the shape that is 3 frets down from where you would normally play your pentatonic scale, and I think you're going to come up with some really cool stuff. One final thing I'd like to say about that is it makes it a lot easier to slide from the minor third to the major third in this box than it would in your A minor pentatonic box. For example, what I did there, I slid from C to C sharp, my minor third to major third, which fits perfectly over my A7. C to C sharp, back to my A. And that's a lot, it fits a little easier in the fingers when you're playing in this position right here. In any case, I will conclude now by finishing that, by playing a last little bit of Pride and Joy. But I hope you be practicing the guitar, and I hope you'll be checking the internet shortly for plenty more of my videos. I'll be talking about theory, chord theory, scales, modes, all kinds of stuff, different styles, different effects you can use.